You're probably scrolling through a dozen kayak options because you need something that just works stable enough for a lazy Sunday on the lake, comfortable enough for a half-day fishing trip, and priced so you don't feel guilty after the bill arrives. The hesitation is real. Buy a high-priced model that looks slick on paper and you could end up wrestling with a cramped seat, a wobbly hull, or a deck that can't hold your gear. The risk of picking the wrong kayak is that you'll spend more time fixing problems than actually paddling. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's talk about the Wilderness Systems Pungo 120. It's a 12-foot 2-inch sit-inside recreational kayak that's been marketed as a blend of speed and stability, with a Phase 3 Air Pro comfort seat, adjustable footrests, and an upgraded dashboard that includes a removable dry box, cup holders and a phone mount. Those sound good on paper, but what matters is how they behave when you're actually out on the water. First, who should consider the Pungo? If you're a beginner who wants a kayak that won't tip over the first time you catch a gust, or a casual paddler who likes the idea of covering a few miles without feeling like you're fighting the hull, this model fits the bill. The renowned hull that Wilderness touts is designed to be flat-bottomed in the middle for stability, then narrows toward the ends for a little extra glide. In practice, that means you can sit upright with a fishing rod or a small cooler on the deck and feel confident that the kayak won't rock like a toddler on a seesaw. Families with kids, weekend anglers, and even a few paddleboard Cockpit cross-trainers have reported that the Pungo feels forgiving when they first hop in. Now, who might want to look elsewhere? If you're chasing race-a-day speeds or you need a kayak that can handle whitewater rapids, the Pungo's design leans more toward relaxed cruising. Its hull, while stable, isn't a narrow, racing-type shape that cuts through chop like a knife. Likewise, if you're a tall paddler over 6 feet, the cockpit depth and seat positioning might feel a bit cramped, even though the footrests are adjustable. The Phase 3 Air Pro seat does tilt and slide, but the overall cockpit opening isn't as generous as some full-size touring kayaks. Let's break down the practical strengths you'll actually notice on the water. The Phase 3 Air Pro seat is a standout. It's a cushion filled with air cells that you can inflate or deflate to match your weight distribution. When I tried it on a warm June morning, I could fine-tune the firmness and end up with solid lower back support that didn't dig into my spine after a few hours. That ergonomic feel translates into less fatigue if you're paddling for a couple of hours at a time. The seat also swivels, so you can face forward for a quick sprint or turn around to fish without having to twist your torso awkwardly. Footrest adjustability is another real-world win. The Pungo comes with 2 footrests that slide forward and backward, letting you set them to match leg length. For a 5-foot 9-inch paddler, the footrest sat just right, giving me a solid push against the deck with each stroke. When you're paddling in a current, that leverage matters. You'll feel a smoother, more efficient pull rather than having to overreach or scramble for balance. The upgraded dashboard is where the convenience claim becomes tangible. The removable dry box is large enough for a day's worth of snacks, a spare pair of socks, and a small first aid kit, and because it snaps out, you can stash it in the back of a car without worrying about water damage. The cup holder is a small but appreciated touch, nothing worse than a lukewarm coffee spilling onto the deck in the middle of a sunrise paddle. The built-in phone mount holds a typical smartphone at a comfortable angle, which is handy if you're using a GPS app or want to record a quick video of the sunrise. The dash isn't overly cluttered, so you still have room for a fishing rod or a small tackle box. On the flip side, there are some practical weaknesses to keep in mind. The Pungo's storage options are modest. Aside from the dry box, the only other compartments are 2 small bungee loops on the deck. If you're planning an all-day outing with a full cooler, a rod holder, and a wet bag, you'll quickly discover you need to get creative, perhaps adding a deck rig or an external cargo net, which adds extra cost and installation time. Also, the hull's flat-bottom design, while stable, creates a slightly sluggish feeling when you try to accelerate out of a calm. In light wind, you'll notice the kayak tends to drift sideways a bit more than of-shaped hull would. It's not a deal-breaker for most casual paddlers, but it's something to expect if you're used to a more cut-through feel. Another nuance is the weight. The Pungo weighs just under 60 pounds, which is